a little bit of what has worked for him in terms of virtual open houses and virtual showings. So welcome both of you, Steve and Mihir. Thanks for joining me today.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Awesome. All right, so I know, Steve, you shared a really cool story on the workplace group. And I think it was specifically about virtual open houses, and I believe it was was it a Facebook open house that you did?
Yeah, it was a Facebook Live.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us how that all transpired and how you made it work.
Well, I'm not a stranger to video. I've been doing video for quite a while now. Before I was with Zolo, I had a YouTube channel, and I put up Facebook Lives as well as Facebook videos on a regular basis on a variety of topics. Some of them, most of them real estate based, but some of them lifestyle based as well, like different restaurants or attractions in the city and in different neighborhoods and so on and so forth. So what occurred to me is everything changed. I think all of us can agree. After the mid-March, like at the beginning of March, I didn't notice a difference in our business whatsoever. In fact, the numbers were still really good. We were still seeing lots of multiple offers here in Ottawa. The buyers were, the hits were coming in every day. We were getting leads. But after the Ottawa Real Estate Board and TREB sent out that pretty strong worded email regarding this is not business as usual, I think we can all remember that. I had just listed a property. And so what happened was we had all of our ducks in a row. And I really thought that we were going to be looking at multiple offers on the Sunday or Monday that was coming. And so I had professional photography, I had stagers come in, the whole 9 yards. And we ended up, I even had the sellers move out of the house for a week. They took their animals and they moved in with their family so that we could do go and show. We were all being careful and wearing gloves and using all of the proper protocols, but I just wanted the house to be as inviting as possible. To my surprise, I only got 3 showings in the whole week. I should have got 30 to 50 showings with go and show, which it was pretty typical here in Ottawa. So I was sort of on Saturday, I was kind of worried about it. And this was before we were doing a lot of these virtual open houses. No one was talking about it as much as we are now. And I just thought to myself on Saturday, I said, you know what? I'm going to go to what I know, which is video. And so on Sunday, I sent out a message to all of my followers. I sent out emails to people in my database. I called some friends on Saturday and family and asked them to tune in and to share the video. And I made my way over on Sunday at the usual time that we usually conduct open houses, around 2 o'clock. And, you know, I kept it really casual. I think that especially people who aren't accustomed to doing video, what they don't get is everyone thinks that your video has to be perfect. And that's probably the #1 mistake and the #1 reason most people are afraid of doing video. And so they tend to think that they have to look perfect. It has to have the perfect conditions and the right editing and all of this stuff. But the truth of the matter is none of that is necessary. Most of the time, my most successful videos were very casual. I didn't dress up for them. I'm known here in Ottawa as Bear the Realtor because my nickname is Bear. And most of my the videos that got the most likes and the most shares, I had on one of my famous baseball hats with a bear on the front, or my hashtag Bear the Realtor across the front of it. And I was dressed casually and it was off the cuff, and I really just spoke to my audience. And so that's what I did on Sunday. I didn't overthink it, to be honest with you. I just thought what I'm going to do is I'm just going to invite all of my followers, all of my friends, clients, and so forth. Just invite them into the home, take them through the home, just give them a walkthrough like I was showing anyone, really, like I was doing a regular showing. So it was kind of like a showing / open house. And I took them through twice, actually. I went through once But I noticed that some people only joined the broadcast later on. So by the time they tuned in, I was already showing the master bedroom. So I started back out at the front of the house. And that's what I would recommend, is that you take people into the home like you're welcoming them. Open the door, invite them in. And then just talk about the home, talk about its features, about the neighborhood, in the same way that you would in a listing in a listing, like the way that you describe the home, or in the way that you would just do a regular showing. And it was really good. We had about 300 people watch the video. We got that I had on my link, and then we got 7 shares out of it. The next day, a realtor that I didn't know from an outside community in Carleton Place, through the sharing, he's not in my network, saw the video, knew of some clients in particular that this might be the perfect home for, showed them the video, took them through, asked them if he could come through the house on Monday quickly, did a quick walkthrough with them at around 3 o'clock, and we got a full asking price offer at 4.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So was this posted to your Facebook business page then?
No, it's actually on my personal page.
Okay.
My business page, I don't know if any of you have seen this, but it's difficult to build that business page up. Yeah. So I have a business page, but to be honest with you, I'm still using my personal page, and I don't abuse it. I really do follow the rule, try and post 3 or 4 lifestyle, personal things to one business post, so as not to, raise any red flags. And Facebook really stays off your back as well. If you have a business account and you have a personal account, they monitor everything. So if you're contributing and you're actually buying boosted advertising on Facebook on a semi-regular basis, they tend to leave you alone if you do stuff on your personal page.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. So this one wasn't an ad that you boosted. It was just on your personal page that was shared. So it was more organic than the Facebook ads.
It didn't cost me 1 penny.
That's crazy. That's great. That's amazing.
Yeah. And, like from that page now, I picked up from that actual Facebook Live that's still up on my Facebook. I mean, I was super casual. I literally just jumped in the car in my baseball hat. And when there's nothing, didn't shave, just spoke from the heart, told them about the home. One thing about me is if I don't take every listing. I know a lot of agents do. I can't sell something I don't believe in. I've been in sales my entire life. And, if I list your home, it's generally because I like you as the client, and B, I love your home. So I can always find, typically with my clients' homes, I can find features and or parts of the home or the neighborhood or something that I really like. And that's what I'll focus on.
Yeah, it's easier for sure to discuss something and show it off when there's elements of it that you also like and appreciate about the home.
Exactly. And we're like, now, of course, this is becoming the norm because it's sort of how we're having to do business now. And it's perfectly fine. It works great. So I have some Zillow buyers that saw a property a week ago, and they wanted to go and see it. Well, as it turns out, the seller called me back, the seller's agent, and mentioned that they have an immune compromised child in the home, and they don't feel comfortable doing any showings right now. So I said, fine. So I married the seller's agent up with a good videographer that I know in his area because he didn't know one. And they're going to do a video. Then I contacted the buyers and I said, listen, guys, let's go through everything that you're looking for in a home. And this is a super important, now that we only have this video element for the most part, I believe it's super important that we have this conversation, like good conversations with the buyer clients, even more than we did before. We need to ask all of the right questions, because if you ask all of the right questions, you can actually eliminate most obstacles and most objections before you even encounter them. Because if it crosses off enough boxes, I guess is what I'm getting at, then we can, along with the video, there's no reason why they can't put an offer with the condition of viewing the home. And then for the sellers, it's better because they don't have 30, 40, 50 people coming through their house to get one offer. They get an offer, someone who's actually serious. And if you've had those conversations with your buyer, like I had with this buyer, where I asked her, tell me a bit about why you're moving, you know, and she told me that her daughter lives in the area. And I said, she told me that she sold her home. What about your financing? She had sold her home in Montreal and the money was already in the bank. So she's ready to buy and she's prepared to make an all cash offer. But with other buyers, it might be, is it in the right school district? Does it have a finished basement? Et cetera, et cetera. So you want to tackle all these things. Well, if you know that going in there, short of seeing the property, it crossed off 9 out of 10 of their boxes, then there's no reason why after viewing a good video that they can't put an offer in. And like I say, if they're serious and it's crossed off all those boxes, then you just add that one condition that they actually get to walk through the home before firming up.
Yeah, that makes sense. And are you suggesting that condition be, satisfied in 2 days or 5 days, or how are you structuring that?
Well, I try and get them in as soon as possible. I mean, I'm starting to see signs here in Ottawa. We really reached a screeching halt around the second, third week of March. Everything really slowed down. But I've seen in the past week that the leads are coming in again. The buyers are coming back to the table. The interesting thing here in Ottawa was the listings were still coming in during the slow period. Not as many, similar to TREB. Our numbers dropped by about 50%. Of course, it might be 57, whatever it is, but at least about half the listings were going up that we were accustomed to. But what's really cool about that is the buying cycle had slowed down more than half as well. So it kind of stayed sort of the same, but not, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So now I feel like things are loosening up. We're becoming more accustomed to the new normal.
Right.
And so utilizing these tools, asking for a few days, whatever's necessary. It could be 48 hours, it could be 24 hours, whatever it is. You really have to work that out with the buyers and the sellers, right? Because some sellers might be, it might actually be on the sellers that they're not prepared to have somebody come through the home as well.
Yeah, fair enough. We do have somebody here raising their hand. If you guys have questions, please just type them into the Q&A and we can address those. I did want to just bring this up quickly as well. I know for most of you who are probably viewing this on your phone, this will be impossible to see, but it is a directive, I guess, that was posted on our workplace group by Mustafa, and it's just a really good step-by-step tutorial about how to prepare for a live video tour, how to conduct the tour, and then how to wrap up the tour. So I think all of those things that Steve just mentioned are in this as well. So if you need kind of a cheat sheet, for lack of a better word, that's been posted on the workplace group for you guys. So I'll just point that out. Yeah.
Sorry, Jane. And I also wanted to mention, circle back to one of my first points, because I've talked to literally dozens and dozens of agents that have run into me socially and when I was on the board last year. And the number one question, again, it was always, oh, you're so great in your videos and how do I get started? And I want to emphasize that cheat sheet is fantastic, but don't let all of those steps, don't feel like you have to follow them step by step by step. In other words, don't let this intimidate you from getting started. Any video that you try and nail off as many of those steps as you can. If you can do them all, then great, but it doesn't have to be perfect. The idea is just be yourself, talk plainly, and communicate to your audience. That's the most important thing I find.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next slide here, oh no, I can't get to it. Um, it's just about virtual showing. So obviously, you know, if you are going to be meeting with people, ask them to do some preliminary steps beforehand. Sending an email to, you know, any prospect who's inquiring about properties, ask them to really review the property description. If there are floor plans that have been attached to the MLS listing, send those so they have all of the information before even offering to do an in-person showing. Ask them to review the photos. Definitely send them the link for the virtual tour, you know, to ensure that they've at least taken a look at that. And then ask them to take the extra step of driving by the property, or even at the very least doing a Google map search, just because oftentimes, you know, back in the old days, I guess now, when we were doing these showings, oftentimes you take people out and they realize it's on a busy street, or they realize it's not in the school district they wanted, or they didn't realize the age of the home. So now is really the time to ask your clients to really review all of the information and really make sure that it is satisfactory to them. And then at that point, if they are satisfied with the property, at that point you can offer ideally a virtual tour. But if they really insist on seeing it in person, then taking the necessary precautions to do that.
Yeah, and
So
your point is great too. And I talked to my team about this. We meet on Mondays and Fridays. So Monday we talk first thing in the morning. We start with coffee talk on Monday, and then we do a social cocktail at 4 o'clock on Friday to go over our week using Zoom. And one of the things that you said is, I tell these guys, because they're a little bit afraid of this new world that we're in, I say, in a way, this is what we've dreamed of. Like, your buyers normally drag you all over God's green acres. Now everybody listens to what you tell them. Like you're saying, you know, go and drive by yourself. See if this is a neighborhood that you want to live in. Check out the area. Is it on a busy street? Is the school close by? Do you like the parks? You know, do you need a house close to the hospital? Whatever it is, time how long it takes for you to get from that neighborhood to work in the morning. This is stuff that, like, again, we've working as buyers agents, sometimes we're driving around for weeks, if not months, with clients to figure all this stuff out. Now we don't have to do it anymore.
that is so true. This is what we hoped for before all of this, and now we can actually ask for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the other thing too that I like to include in any kind of email is just to make sure that they haven't traveled, that they're not showing any symptoms, that they haven't been in contact with anyone. So, I mean, I think a lot of different brokerages, I'm sure those of you who are still booking showings will see all kinds of different formats that are something like this, just verifying that everybody is healthy. So if you are going to do in-person showings, just make sure that you have some sort of protocol that you're asking these questions, you know, just for your own safety. So keep that in mind as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Mahir, are you still here with us?
Still here.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Well, Steve, thank you so much for all of that information. I love that story about the Facebook tour that you did, and I'm so glad you were able to sell that firm that's or for full price. That's amazing.
And you know, the other benefit of it is the video is still up there. So I've picked up 2 other buyers that through realtor.ca that were then linked and saw the video on my Facebook that are interested in these units. And then one of our agents, one of our Zolo agents, owns one that he's preparing to sell. So we're able to, I've already been able to take them. It's actually vacant right now. So because of that first video, we have one of our agents, Armin, owns one identical to it just a few doors over. So it looks like I've picked up buyers to potentially buy his listing before it even goes to the market.
That's great.
Yeah,
video is such an amazing tool. It's good that we're sort of being forced to use it more, because it really is, yeah, like I said, such a great tool for attracting new leads and marketing the properties that we do have. And
Absolutely.
You did this all before TREB came out with the live stream option, which Mahir will be talking about.